Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino.
Ready?
Go, go, go!
On your mark.
Now!
Controversial romance game Haven receives couple update adding same gender options by Lee Jewett. This is truly insane. The fact that this little French indie game has a controversy because it's about a romance is absurd. But at this point, this whole representation thing, it's a mental illness. You know, it's not about equality. It's not about, I don't know, what it's supposed to be about, like what the argument is. But it's really just about narcissists who thinks that the world revolves around them and that, the whole main character syndrome thing. This has nothing to do with anything. There should not be a controversy on this damn game. Now, this is an article from like over a year ago. Haven is something that my brother suggested I should play. He knows the kind of things I'm into. It's not something he would play, but his girlfriend played part of it, or he watched her play part of it, and it's focused on this couple in the future. And even though the action RPG elements are not that great, it's got great music. It looks really good, and the main draw is the couple, K and U, and their the story. It's story driven and very dialogue heavy, which, this game has a lot of mixed reviews. I'm very mixed on the game myself, and the only reason why I came across this article was because I was Googling something that annoyed me about the game, and I was trying to understand what other people were talking about it and try to figure something out. But I'm not going to spoil the game, really, so I'm not going to get into that. But okay, so anyway, I started playing Haven. I've taken a break from Hogwarts, and I'm trying to go through my backlog. And Hogwarts is a huge game, and this open world stuff, I usually play it for a month and then I take a break to go to something else. So anyway, I'm going through my backlog. I had this game for probably a year or so now, playing it. The irony of this so-called controversy is that I was thinking about doing a video on Haven to talk about the SJW elements and how SJWs get in their own way, and how I'm so black-pilled at this point that even a relatively harmless situation like, K and U, this couple, can be annoying in the way that they approach like the gender dynamics. So anyway, but let's see. So French game development studio The Game Bakers have released a free content update to their 2020 title Haven, which allows players to choose which versions of the two protagonists they wish to play as. Haven is an action RPG, very light on the RPG, with survival elements that follows the story of two lovers, K and U, who have fled an authoritarian society, I don't know why I can't read that, which forces all its citizens into arranged marriages. Upon release in 2020, the protagonists were a man and woman, respectively. When paired with other details of the plot, this central narrative conceit of not being allowed to love freely was met with controversy. The fact that it was met with controversy says more about the sociopaths online than it does about the actual game. There's no reason for this to be a controversy, but anyway, it was met with controversy. Some reviewers felt that the heterosexual focused narrative was tone deaf towards the struggles of LGBT individuals who still experience their love lives being restricted in most of the world even now, especially given that the game's sole instance of gay representation at launch is an antagonistic force. Okay, so this entire absurd portion of the article, it's not finished, a few more paragraphs, but the fact that this sociopath wrote this article and is wording it the way that she is truly insane. Some reviewers felt that the heterosexual focused narrative was tone deaf. So someone decides to write a story about a heterosexual couple who are facing struggles in like being together, and somehow that's an attack on LGBT plus individuals. These people are insane. And the fact that, again, let's think about representation. This is why I always rail against representation. The problem with representation is that the person is no longer a person. The person represents an entire community. So when they say the game's sole instance of gay representation is an antagonistic force, no, the person happens to be gay, but they're also the antagonists. But it's funny because the whole point of the video I wanted to do about Haven was how you can tell it's super it's super SJW, and how it's annoying that you can't just have a game today that focuses on certain issues without the developer putting in crap like, okay, so not to spoil too much, and this is not a huge spoiler at all, but this thing about the gay representation and being an antagonistic force, you, the female of the two, who's a really cool character, despite some problems I have with her, but you has two mothers. So that was just something I was going to complain about if I had went through a checklist of annoying elements of Haven. If I wanted to just sort of riff on my experience playing Haven and some of the things I liked about it and some of the things I didn't like about it, one of it was the fact that you just have two mothers. And it's so this is not really a thing. But of course now in a game, they got to put that she has two mothers. It's just so silly. That it was something that annoyed me because you see it all the time now. It's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, etc., etc. So it's funny though, they did that, the developers, as part of their SJW agenda, but it doesn't matter to the people complaining about the game anyway. So you had this character, you have two moms. One of the moms, it turns out, is a part of the ruling class, and there's a story that's uncovered that she's part of some kind of controversy, a scandal, and when they call it, that's why they say antagonistic force, because it's not necessarily this person is the villain. She's just one of the reasons why they left is because she agrees with the fact that you should be married to another person, another character, not to Kay. So it's so silly. This person, when they say antagonist for the sole representation, a sole gay representation is this. She doesn't even do anything horrible. She's just a part of something bad that happened. She feels ashamed about it, and she just wants her daughter to come back to their society. But anything even slightly negative, this representation push, is so insane that people can't be people. They have to be pure angels to represent their group. All right, so now here's another part of the article. All right, for moving on with the article. The couple update, which is already live on all gaming platforms, adds options for alternate versions of both U and K. Players can now choose for the couple to consist of two women or two men, in addition to the default option of a man and a woman. Though the fact that a heterosexual couple is in fact the default in a story such as this may remain a troubling aspect of the game's design. Again, this is sociopathy. This person, if they didn't go into gaming, journalism, or I don't know what this site is. I've never heard of Sequential Planet before. It's not even a knock against the site. It's just I never heard of them before. But if this person wasn't a gaming or geek journalist, they'd probably go be a serial killer somewhere. Because the fact that you would say, all right, there used to be a time, I'm old enough to remember a time when you would read a story, watch a movie, experience a story about people who were nothing like you. They could be aliens, blue aliens in another world. And elements of that story you would identify with it. You'd recognize it. And back then, in the olden times, you would appreciate the fact that despite the differences in the characters, the location, the setting, the time period, whatever, you would recognize things that apply to you in your life. That was a good thing. That was the thing that would enhance this piece of art or entertainment. You'd be like, wow, Peter Parker, I really identify with him. I identify with his relationship issues, his money issues, his feeling of needing to do better and be better for everybody around him, that kind of thing. But I would never say, because Peter Parker reminds me a lot of me, you should make him a black guy. It's an insult to black people that a white man has financial issues. It's tone deaf to have Peter Parker struggle with his finances and struggle with like a day job and then, bigger aspirations or whatever as a black man. It's so fucking stupid. And the fact that this person with a straight face writes this article, like I said, this person is a sociopath. All right. So now the thing is about this, the couple update. When I first played the game, that was one of the things that kind of annoyed me, but also alerted me to the fact that, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be an SJW thing. So I didn't ever see it as just K and U, man and woman, male and female. I saw the lesbian couple, and I couldn't tell if the gay couple, the guys were, one was trans or not, but I just picked the default main heterosexual couple. Normally, when I play like RPGs, I play as a woman, and if there's an option for a lesbian relationship, I always play the lesbian relationship. In this case, I'm going to play the default, heterosexual couple, because it seemed to me when my brother first told me about it, and the promotional art for it was always they were a straight couple. So I said, fine, I'm going to play it as that. And the thing that always annoyed me as I was playing the game was the way in which clearly... All right, let me read some more, because the press release mentions something that I completely don't agree with. But anyway, okay. In a press release we received from the game bakers, the studio stated that the alternate versions of UNK come with full re-recordings of all 80,000 plus lines of dialogue in the game, as well as reworked models and in-game art. I don't know how much that must have cost to do that. The trailer showcasing the update certainly seems to demonstrate this well, indicating real commitment to this overhaul of the game. This is truly insane. Again, this is like if you see a story about white soldiers at war getting killed, and you get mad because the story isn't about Native Americans in a battle getting killed. Like, it's an insult to Native Americans if you show a film about white people getting killed. All right, but anyway, the press release also included this statement from creative director Emmerich Dua. So I don't know. Haven is about the freedom to love whomever you want. Okay, let me try it again. Haven is about the freedom to love whomever you want. From the very early days of conception, we had created several couples for the game with a diverse range of relationships. But the constraints of our indie team production made us focus on UNK only. After the game launch, we wanted to go back and work on this update. We hope that many players will feel better represented in the game. Okay, I don't believe that there were other types of couples. I don't believe that there was really going to be a lesbian couple or a gay couple. One of the things that annoyed me about this game, and overall, I was enjoying the game, but I was just being annoyed. It was like things were kept prickling at you when you play it. So clearly this is a heterosexual relationship, because they were doing this SJW thing where they were flipping gender roles. Kay, the guy, is the cook in the relationship. So they live on this weird planet that's broken up into these different islets. And the main part of the story is that you're traveling to these different islands, like exploring, trying to find parts to repair your ship, which has been damaged, and an earthquake that happens on the planet. And so you live in this spaceship. It's this cozy little home that they have. Like I said, Kay, the guy, he does the cooking. He is a scientist. He's more soft-spoken, to the point where it's kind of like almost emasculating the way he talks to you, the girlfriend, because she's a good character. They're both good characters in their way, but you is absolutely like the star of the two. She's rambunctious, she's charismatic, she's charming, she's funny, she's kind of a little bit crass and obnoxious in some ways, but she's got a lot of personality, a lot of moxie and chutzpah, whatever, right? And I actually do like you, but there are moments when things like, because Kay is the intellectual, he's more of the scientist, he's I think he's like a botanist or something like that, but he's into a lot of different science things, and he's a big geek, like role-playing games and certain like children's shows. But it'll be things like they'll be sitting together, right? Okay, so I'm saying gender roles. So Kay is the cook. You is the engineer. The ship that they live in is her ship. It's the ship that she's a pilot. The ship they escaped their planet from is hers. And she's the one making all the repairs. She's the one who upgrades your gear, all that stuff. And so they'll be sitting there talking, right? And the game is very dialogue heavy. And Kay will say something like, you will say, hey, I wonder how big this planet is. And Kay will say something like, well, you could use a gnomon to try to measure the planet somehow. And she's like, what's a gnomon? And he'll say, oh, it's a stick. And then she goes, why not just say stick? All right. So she'll say that, right? Fine. But later on, you're traveling around the world looking for parts, and she finds something, and she goes, wow, this would be perfect as an airfoil for something. And then Kay will be like, so an airfoil is like a certain curtain? And she goes, no, it's a wing, stupid. And he'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Instead of him going, why not just say a wing? And that happens a lot. She'll get on him about something and insult him about something, and then later on she'll do the exact same thing and he won't call her out on it. And a lot of times he talks to her, like the voice acting is really good for both, but his voice acting, Kay's the voice actor for him, too many times he talks to you, which is his fucking girlfriend. He talks to her like he's afraid that she's gonna bite him, like he's afraid of her snapping at him for something. And she's not really mean, she does insult him a lot. Like at a certain point you're traveling around and he'll complain about, man, it's cold, it's chilly up here, and she goes, yeah, we should have made you bring a little sweater. But then later on, again, she will complain about, oh, it's really chilly, and he'll be like, oh, I'll keep you warm, stuff like that. So that was already annoying me, because there's a lot of situations like that. But overall, their relationship is good. They have a good dynamic. Enough stuff happened, like I said, that I wanted to make a video about it to say how, man, the SJW ship keeps undercutting what I like about this damn game. And the end just killed it for me. I mean, the end pissed me off so much that I just deleted the game and was like, I was thinking about platinuming it. But I was like, no, I'm not platinuming this game. Fuck this game. And that was the good ending. So that's how bad they fucked up. And it's kind of a personal thing. I'm not going to ruin it, because I think, I mean, maybe if you're interested in something that's not AAA, I think you'll probably get something out of it. Though there are some annoying shit in it. But anyway, so what I think is funny is that the developers said, oh, you know, we wanted to have different types of couples. But really, the story doesn't work if it's lesbian or gay couples. And it's simple, like, it's all kinds of little technical things. Like, is the matchmaker going to the one that decides who you're supposed to be a lover, like, in a mate with? Is the matchmaker forcing straight couples or straight people to get with gay people? You know, isn't like none of that stuff is what the story is about. So it doesn't make sense to say, oh yeah, we wanted to have different type of couples. You know, just because the story has something that you recognize doesn't mean it's about you specifically. One of the ways that it's universal, the story, is that you recognize it, despite the fact that these are not, you know, like, they don't have the same sexuality you have. These are people on another planet, and it looks like they're in the far-flung future. They seem like they're descendants of, like, humans from Earth, the way they talk about things like cows and certain expressions they have. But, okay, so, the article's almost finished. Sequential Planet declined to cover Haven in 2020 upon learning of the game's controversial elements. There's nothing controversial about this fucking game, as we felt we could not in good conscience provide press to the title. That says so much. It reminds me of how people like Patrick Klepek were losing their shit over IGN and other sites that actually reviewed and covered Hogwarts Legacy. The fact that these so-called journalists don't actually see themselves as journalists. They see themselves as publicists. Like, it's not important to them to just tell the story. You know, they think if we talk about Hogwarts, or if we talk about this game that has a controversial element because it's a story about a couple struggling to be together, means that it insults the gay community, then again, you're not telling the story. Like, you're not interested in journalism. You're not interested in reporting. This is why people don't care that these sites are going in the trash, because they are no use. And like, even if you have a problem with these things, cover it and talk about the problems you have with it. But to just go, oh no, we didn't review it, we want to talk about it because we didn't want to give press to the title. That's fucking stupid. In light of these new developments, we may write a retrospective review that and report more on whether this update is adequate in addressing the problematic aspects. Again, there are no problematic aspects. It's just about a straight couple living in a futuristic society that forces people to marry who the matchmaker wants you to marry. These two people, through certain circumstances, ended up falling in love without the matchmaker's approval. They escape the planet, go somewhere else, and they're trying to live on this new world and adapt and figure out how they're going to deal with the fact that they're the only people on this planet and all the like troubles that come with being on this weird planet. That's it. If you're a gay person and you recognize that, hey, you know, these couples remind me of the problems I have in a relationship. You know, a normal, sane person just recognizes that and appreciates it. But this sort of Twitter and Tumblr brain-rotted version of people now, they look at it and go, this sounds like they should be a gay couple. Alright, so Sequential Planet has reached out to the game makers for a statement on whether this major change to the game was a direct response to the criticism Haven initially received. At press time, we have yet to receive a response. If the game bakers ever did respond, it should be, go fuck yourself. But look, they put the two other couples in there. I don't have a problem with that at all. Because when I first played the game, like I said, I saw the 3 different couples and I said, okay, there's a choice. And I know it's an SJW choice. I didn't think that was something that they later added to the game. But it didn't bother me. I just was like, oh, okay, I see. Clearly, that was like the first sign that, oh, this is going to be an SJW game. And then, like I said, there's this gender dynamic stuff that they're doing, which to me demonstrates that it wasn't supposed to be about same-sex couples. It was supposed to be about a man and a woman. And they were showing you that, oh, the woman can be like the one who's in charge of the relationship. And she could be the one who's, doing the traditional masculine things, while the man is, doing the more like feminine. He's softer spoken, like I said. He studies flowers and he cooks and all this shit, while she's out there, building the ship back up and, upgrading their weapons and all this stuff. And that in and of itself wasn't really a problem. It was just the way that it was being implemented. That was kind of annoying me. Ultimately, for the most part, I did enjoy Haven. The ending, because I enjoyed Haven and I enjoyed the couple, the ending, the so-called good ending, really pissed me off. And it's one of those things that I don't want to talk about because, I think that if you want to play it, you should play it. The actual controversy doesn't hurt the game. It's just the fact that this stupid ass controversy where, because some brain-rotted people, I don't think this is most gay people, I don't think most gay people or trans people, anybody who ever played this game actually went, wait a minute, you mean to tell me there's a straight couple that has problems in being in relationships? That doesn't make sense. That's insulting. Only gay people have bad relationships. Whatever. When these sites go down the toilet, I'm going to celebrate.